My name is Clarence Duplessis. I was born in this small community of Hache, Louisiana. I'm 65 years old. I was born into this fishing community. I've done this for most of my life. And when the oil incident happened, the Deepwater Horizon oil rig burned and sank. This entire community was put out of work, and things got pretty rough for quite a period of time. I, along with the other fishermen in this community, were struggling to get onto the BP vessel of opportunity, because BP promised us, since we didn't have any work and we were out of work, they were going to put us to work so we could replace the income that we were losing. And we stayed here for quite a while, and we didn't get any work. And then I was fortunate enough to speak to Congress. And after I spoke to Congress, things started to turn around. I was contacted by BP, and they put me to work soon thereafter. And it was a lot easier for me than some of the other men in this community.
Do you think it was because you spoke to Congress that it was easier for you? Do you think?
There's not much doubt in my mind, because things changed immediately. The news media, because I had spoken in front of Congress, the news media was there when the session was on, and afterward, a lot of the people, a lot of the news media wanted to talk to me, and a lot of this stuff was broadcast. 2 days later, I got a call from one of the higher ups in BP, and he said, "Mr. Duplessis, I understand that you have issues." And I said to him, "It's beyond the issue point. I'm really upset because, you know, we need to work. You guys promised us work." So he promised that he would have a meeting with me, and I said, "No, you're going to have a meeting with me and the rest of the fishermen in this community." And we met, and soon thereafter I got to work, and a handful of the other fishermen also got to work. And this helped us out a lot, but we still have, it's over with now as far as the cleanup and the work efforts, and we still have some of these fishermen that did not get the opportunity to work, even though they tried to, and now they're having real bad problems with the claims process. I was fortunate, I was blessed, I should say.
What was your experience in the claim process? Did they lose? Did you have to apply more than once, or was it pretty smooth?
Well, in the beginning, when it first started, before I went to work, I'll give you an example. We went, our first session, we went and sat down. They said you need income tax records, you need trip tickets. And my wife is very, very efficient. She took all the paperwork, she had it all in order. We sat down, and the gentleman said, "How much money do you think we should give you?" And I told him, I have no idea how much money you should give me, because I don't know how long this is going to last. I don't know the effects that it's going to have on the fishing industry. I have no idea. He says, "Well, how much money did you make in the month of May?" Because this was the month of May that we were
of the previous year, I think you're talking about.
Of the previous year, right. He says, "How much did you make in the month of May last year?" So my wife got her papers out, and she started going through the trip tickets. She says, you know, 15,000, 22,000. When she got to 27,000, the guy says, "Oh, that's enough. That's enough. We're going to write you a check for $5,000 to cover this month." And I said, "Okay, fine, you know." this is just the beginning, and you guys have promised us work and everything. And they started issuing checks for $5,000 to just about everybody that made a claim in the beginning.
In the beginning. How long did that last?
And this lasts for, I would say, probably 3 months, 4 months. And during the period that I was working on a vessel of opportunity, I wasn't involved with the claims thing too much. Then, when we got back into it, was when Mr. Feinberg took over, and his people called us in and wanted more paperwork. They said we're going to start from the beginning again. So we got more trip tickets. We got the income tax records, and my wife, being the person that she is, we had heard horror stories about BP and Mr. Feinberg losing everyone's paperwork. When she went in, she spoke to one of the managers working directly under Mr. Feinberg, and she said, look, I'm giving you all of this paperwork. I want your name and your phone number. And the lady says, well, why do you want this? My wife says, because when you lose the when your people lose my paperwork, I'm going to call you. And she says, oh, not to worry. She says, we're not going to lose your paperwork. You can, I guarantee that. So my wife says, well, if you're so sure, then just give me your name and phone number. And she did. And just as sure as I'm standing here talking, 2 weeks later, we got a letter saying that they needed the paperwork that we had already given them. So my wife went back in, requested this lady, and she came out. My wife says, I'm back, and your people lost my paperwork. The lady was very embarrassed and pretty much upset, so she told my wife to go home. She says, I'll call you, and I guarantee we'll find it. So, and she did find it. And a while later, we got our what's called emergency payment from BP, which was very generous. And we haven't had any problems since. With BP.
This is a little bit different from what I've been hearing from almost all the fishermen in Plaquemines and Lafourche parishes. Do you think it has anything to do with your role in testifying before the United States Congress and the way BP took note of your notoriety in that case?
I would bet on it. I would bet on it. Yes.
Can you just tell me from your own personal experience very briefly what your fellow fishermen in the same boat harbor here generally, they seem to be suffering. A lot of them are on Xanax, the wives are feeling stress, the families are really struggling financially, and they keep hearing it's under review, or even in some cases I've heard they've been denied. Is this just me,
yes,
or is this what you've been hearing?
No. This is fact. Like I said, I've been blessed. However,
you're more than that's the exception that proves the rule in a way.
Yes. All the fishermen, bar none, are having trouble with the claims process.
With the claims process?
Yes, they are. They're having problems.
What do you think of this $25,000 take it or leave it offer BP's putting out to a lot of the small boat captains?
Well,
I mean, it seems a little short when you have to put $600 to $800 in for 4 to 5 days worth of diesel.
Yes, it is.
I mean, just a little bit of short money. And if you think
Mr. Feinberg's been going around, and he's been bragging about the people that they finalized their claims, and most of these people are people that can't come up with sufficient documentation. This is the fishing culture down here. these people are not used to keeping. When you see one of these guys walking around with the white boots and raggedy clothes and stuff, these people are fishermen. They're not. They don't sit behind a computer and file records and.
Right, they're men of action.
This culture is like none other. It's different. It's different. These men are good at what they do. They are fishermen. And what's great about this is we love what we do. We love what we do. And most of these guys, it's worrying about when are we going to have oysters again?
Right.
When is BP going to get the hell out of my life and I can go back to living the life that I love to live? You know, a lot of people think, well, these fishermen are greedy people. They just want to get a lot of money from BP. No, they want to feed their families. That's all they want. They want to feed their families, and they want to go fishing.
Do what they love.
This marina, this time of the year, right now, this marina, all the boats are in the slips. They're tied up.
Tied up.
Normally, this time of year, all of these boats would be over by the conveyors. The 18-wheeler reefer trucks would be lined up from the top of that levee all the way back to the docks, just loading, just like chaos. People just moving, just working. The high school kids, when they get off in the evening, they come and help unload the oysters for so much a sack. They're making their money. It's a thing. It's a culture.
And now it's almost deserted.
It's deserted. There's nothing to do. There's nothing to do.
Let me ask you, understanding, which seems to be a little bit more or less protecting their brand rather than telling the truth. How do you feel when you see these guys up there saying everything's hunky-dory and everybody's been paid off? What is your feeling on that?
That guy that did that commercial for BP, I don't know if he's been compensated for what he's saying. I would suggest that he could speak for himself and not say that all the fishermen are, because if I spoke for myself alone, like I said, I'm satisfied.
Right.
If I can go to work next month, go back shrimping, I am happy. I'm satisfied. It's about going to work. But I can't stand here and say these fishermen have been compensated. My friends, all the people that I work with, these guys are hurting.
They're
hurting.
A lot of them gotta go with Xanax and sleeping pills.
Oh, hey, I lost a lot of sleep. I lost a lot of sleep. I lost a lot of sleep.
I can understand that.
And now it's I'm not back to normal yet, but
as soon as you get on the water and get your life back.
These guys, I know what they're going through. They're uneasy. They want to be working. They're at home. There's nothing to do, and what happens is the wives need food to feed the babies, and there's tension, and there's, it's bad. It's
stress
bad.
and unhappiness.
It's unhappiness. It's stress. It's a mental thing, and it really gets bad.
What BB's putting out on national TV, and what you're actually experiencing down here in Plaquemines Parish.
My honest opinion about BP, when this thing first happened, I don't know if it's because BP was backed in a corner and didn't have any choice, but I think that BP had good intentions about putting the people to work. They had real good intentions. That's the way I feel. However, when the politicians got involved in it, the jobs started getting, the scope of this thing was too big for BP to handle the jobs. So it got handed down to the politicians and to contractors. That's when everything fell apart, because the contractors and the politicians made sure that their mother-in-law's cousin got a job, and they could have cared less, most of them. I'm not speaking for all, but a lot of them, they could care less about the fishermen. They were taking care of their own.
And some of them were hardly fishermen that got those jobs,
And
right?
some of them were not fishermen, period. I can tell you this for fact. I know this for fact. There were people out there with boats working a lot longer than most fishermen.
I understand.
And they were not fishermen. They were out there. A lot of people purchased boats. They had never fished in their lives.
Because they had an insight to the job.
Because they had inside track to the jobs. And which is immoral. It's wrong.
Yes.
Because these fishing families needed the work, they needed the money.
Yeah, and I also heard they brought a lot of people in from Alabama and upstate Louisiana and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, there were people from all over the place here.
Anything else you'd like to add?
I just hope that what's going to happen with this thing, with this claims process, the attorneys have taken over now, and it's the people that don't file, that don't get settled by the 20th of April. This thing is going to get into a massive lawsuit, and it could turn out real bad. It could turn out real bad for the fishermen. It's going to be a long-term thing.
A lot of pain still to come.
A lot of pain still to come, because we had a major lawsuit that went on down in this parish, and I was one of the class representatives in this lawsuit. It was an oyster case with freshwater diversions.
Yeah.
And we proved our case. We won all the way through all the jury. The jury awarded us. Then all the appeals judges awarded us until we got to the state Supreme Court. And they said, well, you prove your case, but they're not liable because it's coastal erosion, and that's for the interest of all the people.
Oh, so they screwed you at the highest level.
When that happened, I lost complete, and I might add, while we were in court suing on the east bank of this river for our oysters that were destroyed by the freshwater diversions, the state paid the people on the west bank of the river before they opened the diversion. They paid them off for all their oysters before they even killed them. And they denied us. And I lost all my confidence in the justice system. It's no way they should even call it justice, because it's not.